And I think we're live. Let's just double check. Here we are. All right. Can you guys hear me? Oh, here we go.
Sorry I'm late.
There we go.
There was a meeting.
That's okay. You're forgiven. Hey, Cynthia. Hey, guys. So, today's the day. Okay. I'm so nervous. It's not even funny. All right, guys. So, in case you don't know, I'm Tina, Team Marie Photography. And here, my co-host, I have Mr. Dougie Walter Grams himself, the extraordinary Harry Potter fan. Yeah, I'm speechless. So, Dougie, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate this. I know yesterday I thanked you about 1,000 times, but there's not enough thank yous for doing this with me. Like I said yesterday, I couldn't think of anybody else better to do this with, so I'm very excited about this. So I want to do, what do they call this? A little bit of mousekeeping. Good, he should be blushing, Cynthia. Shouldn't we build everybody up? All right, so, yeah, I'm sorry. I'll probably embarrass you about 5,000 more times before the show is out, Dougie. I apologize, but also, sorry, not sorry. So, so I want to thank Dean at the Live Place for hosting us. Dean is an extraordinary gentleman. He runs that place, Ship Shape, and he's just amazing. And so, Dean, thank you so much for everything that you do. You are so appreciated. And like I said, we have Dougie here. Do I have enough mods in here to post links to Dougie's channel? And actually,
I wouldn't worry too much about it. I very rarely post any videos. So
yeah, but the ones you do have are really good, so you can't discount those, you know. And you know, you go live sometimes too, right? And do some top-ish things, where you top 10, top 5, whatever it is that you guys do.
It's been a while, but yeah. Sometimes.
Yeah. So if I could figure out how to post the link, then I would do that too. So as soon as maybe Cynthia is grabbing something now. But anyway, so okay, so here we go. A little bit about the show. So like I said, I'm Tina, and I just want to give a brief intro about how this got started. I've been thinking about doing the show for a while, and I just couldn't, nothing really was coming to me, and then all of a sudden, it just kind of hit me, and it actually kind of hit me, Dougie, during one of your videos. I was watching your Edinburgh video when you took the tour, and all the sites that J.K. Rowling had that were important to the book. So if you guys haven't seen that video, go check out Dougie's videos, and you'll see the Edinburgh video. I was really inspired by that. I really enjoyed that video. It was very well done. And I thought, you know what would be great to do a comparison show, books versus movies. And I love Harry Potter is one of my favorite books. It's probably up there tops with, any, probably, I'm going to say a Jane Austen book or a Jane Eyre, which are my other top favorite books. But Harry Potter is definitely up there. And so I thought I'd start with Harry Potter. And I thought, let's just talk about the differences in the similarities between, the books and the movies. There's some similarities, but we'll get into all that after. But two totally different entities, and I thought it would be great for a discussion. So Harry Potter is something that you guys are gonna probably laugh me out of YouTube, but I started watching. I actually didn't even know about Harry Potter until the movies came out, and I hadn't seen the first movie, and my friends who are a couple of years younger than me said, "Hey, you want to go to the movies? We're gonna go see Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets." And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Never seen the first one, but that's okay. I'm sure I'll catch up. Yeah, no. I don't recommend watching the movies out of order. I don't recommend reading the books out of order. Um, so I watched the movies all out of order. And when I actually was going to read the books, I read the last book first because I wanted to read it before the movie came out, the actual Deathly Hallows movie. So I am all completely backwards, but I got caught up. So I started, when I read them again, I started in order, and that's where I was kind of hooked. So that's my story with Harry Potter. I really enjoy the content. I absolutely, um, I don't know. The movies speak to me. And some people that don't know me, um, I'm a Christian, and I pull a lot of biblical references out of the movies. I won't really talk about those here because it's not really the format for it. But so they really mean something extra to me. So that's my tale. Now I want to just briefly, not briefly, because I just talked about 10,000 hours, but ask Dougie, what has brought him to his Harry Potter journey, things like that.
I got into Harry Potter very like not at the beginning, but book three certainly hadn't been released in the UK yet. I know it was 1999, so it was my first year of secondary school, or I suppose what's high school in the US. And I read the first two books in a day, I think, just found them in the library. And very, very quickly became very, very obsessed. It was there all the first day, midnight screenings of the movies and all that stuff. I've told this story before. It's actually Harry Potter and the theme park attractions that were built for that brought me back to Disney as an adult. So I consider it to be a very important thing in my life, a very important part of my life.
That's awesome. I love that. So okay, now I do have to ask, what house are you in?
So I've done this 3 times now because they keep changing the rules, and I always come up Ravenclaw. So I stick with Ravenclaw, and I do think it's the best house. And I'll take anything that values intelligence over anything else.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm a Gryffindor myself. I've taken the test a few times. I got Gryffindor the most times. I think once I might have got a Hufflepuff. I don't even remember, but yeah. So I'm Gryffindor through and through, and proud. And
As long as no one's a Slytherin, it's fine.
I totally agree. Hey, everyone's on the good side unless you're on the side of Slytherin. So, but I actually have a friend who's a Slytherin, and she's quite proud. So, and we love her. But so all right, let's get into it. First, I want to welcome the chat in because I meant to do that first and I completely forgot. So first, I want to welcome Mike Wheeler, who is always. I love when he's first. It just makes me smile, and I hope he knows I'm not being sarcastic when I say that. I just absolutely love when I see him put first. I get so excited. Amy from AJC Magic TV, Cynthia, Candy Mom 15, Karen D. Thank you guys so much for watching. And anybody else who's watching that's not chatting, you do not have to chat. That's totally okay. But if you feel led to, share the stream out, let people know that we're live. I think Kenzie is still doing her nerd talk too, so we might have some people that are still over there. So which is fine. So we're just going to get into it real quick. We're going to start with the differences. So differences between the books and the movies, whether it be just in general things that that you caught. We'll start. I have a pretty extensive list, so I'm going to let Dougie go first. Yeah. All right.
Philosopher's Stone is one of the movies that bothers me the least. I really actually I dislike the movie, but it doesn't annoy me like the later ones does, because they were able to do most of the book in the film. It's a very short book, and they were able to adapt most things and not leave a whole lot of stuff out. So most of the differences in the film are things that I don't particularly like. And it's small things like Harry's eye color annoys me, and the absence of Peeves the poltergeist is something that bothers me throughout the whole series. Because I think that I love Peeves as a character, and I didn't like the decreased amount of Dursleys. I think that's a problem with the series. As it goes on, the Dursleys are often excluded for the sake of filling screen time with other things. And I really, the film starts in the right place by having it start with Dumbledore on Privet Drive rather than earlier in the day with Mr. and Mrs. Dursley of Number 4 Privet Drive. We're proud to say they were perfectly normal. Thank you very much. But I think you miss something by excluding that from the film, because you don't establish what their world was before Harry and why he's a problem, etc. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But that's the biggest change to the film that bothered me, was the reduction of the role of the Dursleys.
Yeah, I agree. That they definitely could have amped that up a little bit more. I mean, I like what they did with the cat, but I really wish they had shown Professor McGonagall as the cat too. You know, stalking out the place the entire day, and kind of all the, you know, just the setting everything up with, you know, the wizards that are rejoicing in the streets and everything. And instead, you just cut straight to the nighttime scene where you have Dumbledore and, you know, talking to McGonagall, and then Hagrid pops in. You know, it's kind of like a lazy way of setting up the series, I feel like.
I mean, yeah, and I didn't really think about it before you said that, but McGonagall as the cat, sitting on the wall at the Dursleys, Vernon Dursley's interactions with the wizarding world before he knows what's going on, before the audience knows what's going on. It's very short, but it is a great way to build that little bit of intrigue and what's happening here before you reveal it with Dumbledore, etc. And they just sort of jump straight to that reveal. And it's just a bit like, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, so I just want to real quick. I want to welcome in Nathan Steger and Megan Helmer. Thanks, guys. Welcome in. Megan agrees. Yes, the absence of Peeves bothered me so much. Yeah, that's one of the big things for me too. It's like, how do you leave out one of the most important characters for me in the books? You know, it's like Peeves he was so essential, and I think that was a disservice to the books, you know, and to J.K. Rowling. I think a lot of it was, but Peeves definitely one of the biggest ones, and yeah, I agree with that one. So I'll get to a couple of mine. My number one actually was, my number two was Peeves, but my number one was how they dumbed down Ron's character. And yeah, you know, it's like in the books, it's like he's not as dumb as they make him out to be in the movies. And I feel like, nothing against women empowerment by any means, don't get me wrong, but I kind of feel like they kind of took Ron's role away from him and kind of put more into Hermione, you know, than they probably should have. You know, they should have. There was a reason why Rowling wrote the book the way it was, and in order, I feel like in order to make the book flow a little bit better the way that she had it, you really shouldn't have dumbed down Ron's role, because he's, you know, his sass and his you know, just the way he handles things is just so essential to the book, I feel like, you know.
No, I very much agree with that, and again, it's a series problem, and you notice a lot that lines from Ron mostly, and sometimes other characters, but are plucked from Ron and given to Hermione. I think Hermione actually comes off better as a character in the films than in the books. I find her absolutely insufferable in the books, whereas in the films, even though she's played by a terrible actress, she's okay. But yeah, the dumbing down of Ron was unfortunate.
Yeah. Like, oh, hold on one second. Hi, what you up to? You have to go out now. All right, so, Dougie, I'm gonna give you the floor. If you have any more that you want to talk about, any more differences, like you can be specific as possible. Okay, we'll hug it out. And I'll be right back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the biggest issue with the adaptation of Philosopher's Stone is it's even though it's a largely British production company and writer, etc. I think the biggest problem with Philosopher's Stone, I just will not call it Sorcerer's Stone, is that you have Chris Columbus, who is a sort of very mainstream American director who has a very good hold of Americana and American culture, but very much loses the Britishness of Potter, and I think that's a problem with the first two, because after that he stopped being involved. And
yeah. Candy Mom 15 says, "Do you think there should have been more movies then?"
Personally, no. I think the only way you can do Potter would be like Game of Thrones style high budget TV adaptation.
Yeah.
I don't think you can't take something like Order of the Phoenix, which is massive, and turn that into a film that's in any way satisfying, and then splitting that into multiple films wouldn't be like it would be annoying. It would need to be a big budget TV.
Yeah, I agree. That's I mean, like kind of what they did with BBC put on a production of Pride and Prejudice, and they did like a 5 or 6 part miniseries, and it really covered the book really well. And I think in order to really do, give props to all the content of the books, you would have to definitely do something like that. Yeah, I agree with that. Karen D strongly disagrees with you, Dougie. She thinks Hermione is marginally better in the books.
She's an absolute weapon. She's just a harpy, and she's bad in the films with how much she needs to impress everyone. But in the books, when it's constantly getting described how she needs to be better than everyone else, and when she freaks out when she's not, no, it makes me hate her. Just be chill for 2 minutes. That's all I want. Just chill out. You could never be friends with Hermione Granger in any kind of real world scenario. She would drive you insane.
Yeah, some people would agree. Some people might not, like our Miss Karen. But I do something that I find really fascinating. I partly agree with that, and I partly see. I read an article yesterday, and it was about how the reason. How do I word this? So they, the movies kind of left out a lot of the essential Hermione parts, like the end where the whole quiz thing that they have to go through to get to the to the Sorcerer's Stone. They kind of really cut that short, and really showing how essential, I guess, Hermione was in that. it kind of set up the rest of the books. Just, she gets a lot of her, she gets a lot of her wit and her, common knowledge from being in the Muggle world. And I think, the movies kind of dropped the ball on that part. Yeah, she's smart, and yeah, she's got the common sense and whatnot, but there's just certain key elements in that book that really just kind of bring pieces to the puzzle together, especially for Hermione, I feel like. But yeah, Candy Mom 15 says, I guess he, meaning you, Dougie, doesn't like her in Beauty and the Beast then.
Anybody that likes Emma Watson in Beauty and the Beast is crazy. She was just terrible. Just awful.
I have to admit I haven't seen it, so I can't really.
Not worth watching. It's really bad.
Yeah, actually, my daughter, my second oldest, her favorite's Beauty and the Beast, and she doesn't even like it. So, yeah, that's from an 8-year-old. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch it and give a review. I don't know, but just not on my top list of things to watch. So, yeah. Karen D says, I could be friends with her as type A. Oh, type A is unite. Okay. I could see that.
I know Karen, and I think if she was friends with someone like Hermione Granger, they would kill each other. There would be too much competition.
Oh goodness, yeah, that's another good point. Type A's definitely have that mentality, that personality. Oh, we still love you, Karen. Don't worry. But yeah, all right. So a couple more things on my list. So number 3 for me was how they changed Dudley's appearance. I, in the books, loved how J.K. Rowling made the comparison of physical appearance, to Malfoy. And I really, they should have kept that. I mean, at least dyed I forget what his name is, the actor's hair blonde, or pick someone of different caliber, different, appearance. Just to kind of, I really think that and it's not a big thing, but for me it is a big thing, because you miss the comparison between Dudley and between Malfoy. And for me, that's one of the biggest things is, Harry he went from his world where he had a Malfoy in the, Muggle world, and now he's got to deal with one in the Wizarding world. And it's like, man, this kid can't catch a break,
No, yeah. I generally think the Dursleys were mishandled. I really, really like Vernon in the films. I think. Oh, and I can't remember the actor's name. Was it Richard Griffith? Is that who it was? I can't remember. I think it's Richard Griffith. I think it's Richard Griffiths, and he, I think, captured it very, very well. However, I think basically everything else was sort of mishandled and underutilized with the Dursleys.
Mm-hmm.
Dudley, especially. Again, I think it's about they were very much in a rush to get to the Wizarding world, because that's what people want to see. But to establish why Harry loves this world so much, you need to show what's wrong with the other one. And the changes to Dudley, he comes just sort of more of across as a spoiled brat rather than an out and out bully, which is what he is in the book.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right, so Dougie, you have any more on your list?
Mine are all pedantic, silly little things, because I spend a lot of time worrying about timelines and stuff. One thing that really, really bothers me with the films is the aging up of all the characters. Everyone who's not one of the child characters is generally portrayed as being far, far older than they are. I believe Lily and James were in their early to mid 20s when they were killed. I think they're clearly in their 40s in the movie. And it just, I know it's a very small thing, but it annoys me that everyone is too old, and that goes up to McGonagall, because until recently, when they sort of retconned McGonagall with the atrocious excuse for a film that was The Crimes of Grindelwald, she was meant to be significantly younger than Maggie Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So it just happens to everyone across the board that they're aged up. And as someone who's kind of obsessed with continuity and timelines and nonsense like that, it just bothered me. And yeah, there's nothing much more I can say about that. It's a very silly thing to get bothered by, but it does. I feel that it takes away from some of the tragedy that these people were so young when everything went wrong. I mean, it's bad whenever anything bad happens to anyone, but for a reasonably new married couple with a brand new baby, who are 20 something, who are then murdered for trying to do the right thing and being on the right side of, yeah, I just think it makes it less impactful.
Yeah, I actually agree with that. That's one of the big things for me. Oh, Tina McNeil, welcome in, my neighbor. Yeah, it's one of the big things for me. Was definitely the age, because I saw the movies before I read the books. I thought that they were clearly in their late 30s, early 40s. That's because that's just how they looked. No offense to the actors, I haven't looked up their ages. I don't really know how old they are in real life, but they definitely weren't very good at portraying people in their young 20s.
But
and,
but it is a trade off. I mean, so James and Lily were roughly early 20s when they were killed. By the time you get to Harry's first year, they would have been 30s. Snape is meant to be 30 years old, but Alan Rickman's so good, and he's one of I think the best castings in the movie. Doesn't matter that he's entirely the wrong age. He was just so good at playing that part. So that's a trade off, I suppose. But but if we're talking about best things from book to film, Alan Rickman as Snape was just phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. He's probably my favorite portrayal from book to movie too. He was tops. I mean, straight down to to the speech and everything, just his drawl, and he was excellent. Yeah.
There's a lot of debate always online on how does anyone feel about Snape by the end of the last book? Is he a hero? And I don't think he ever is a hero, because he's still a horrible bully all the way throughout it. And I think a lot of that, though, comes from how somehow likable Alan Rickman is. Despite playing a horrible character, you love seeing Alan Rickman play that kind of part, and he was fantastic at it. I mean, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, terrible film. Alan Rickman is bad guy, awesome. Give it to me. Let me see it. So, yeah, I mean, Alan Rickman to me made Snape a more interesting character than we see in the books because of the strength of his performance. So if I was to give a positive, it's all just Alan Rickman. Fantastic. More Alan Rickman.
Yeah, I agree. 100%. Anything Alan Rickman is in is a go for me. So, especially the Harry Potter books. So, yeah. Pam's fam, hello, welcome in. Stevie Lee, welcome in. So glad you guys came to chat. So I had a couple more. Like I said, I have 10, but I'm gonna try to pick, because we're already a half hour into the show. So I'm just gonna go quickly through this here. Hermione's appearance. Why did they not give her buck teeth? Like, that was so important for me, especially because in the fourth book, what happens, which we'll get into another week, that was one of the big crucial things to me was those buck teeth, and they did pretty good with the big bushy hair. I think was okay, given her crimps in her hair. They probably could have, stuck a brush through it, and puffed it out even more and threw in some hairspray, get a little bit more creative. I felt like, that was something big too. And then Neville, because I do believe that Neville Longbottom, he also had big bucky teeth or something like that. His appearance was a lot more drastic than it was in the movies too. And I think that if they had made it a little more ridiculous in the movie, it would have brought the book more to life for me, because it's supposed to be like goofy and ridiculous and Wizard World and, whimsical, and not anything like we would see. Well, not really like anything we'd see in the real world. There's, it's supposed to look silly, and for me at least, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, they did try the buck teeth with Hermione. The scene at the end of the film, where they're all getting back onto the Hogwarts Express to go home, she has buck teeth there because that was the first scene that was shot for the film. And she found that she couldn't. Well, they found that she couldn't act with buck teeth in. I would argue that she can't act without the buck teeth in. And Daniel Radcliffe has green eyes in those scenes as well, because they tried him with contact lenses, and he couldn't wear them. But yeah, there was meant to be a transformation with Hermione that you didn't really see, because Emma Watson doesn't look at all like Hermione. And by film 3, they've sort of abandoned the bushy hair and the thing, and they're just letting her be like regular teenage girl, and it's a shame. And I agree with what you say. If they like in those first 2 movies, they could have really pushed the ridiculousness of things.
Yeah.
And then, as they did anyway, draw it back in as things get darker. It would have helped with, yeah.
Yeah. All right. So now I think I've gotten all of my annoyances with appearances aside. We'll see what happens. The other thing that I really think that the movies missed was the wizarding duel. The whole scene that for me sets up, thanks to Malfoy tricking them, they found the door to get to the Sorcerer's Stone, and that was, in the movies they make it like, oh, the staircase is moving. No, we got lost. We found a door randomly, and I think that just also dumbed down. You know what I mean? They kind of took away, that was so important in those books. That scene especially. The whole of it. The whole of it all. Neville was even part of it, and you've got the. And I think also that for me, that scene right there, kind of like the foreshadowing of how important the 4 of them really are towards, getting towards the end of the books. It kind of sets another thing that kind of, for me, set the stage for the rest of the books.
It's very, very similar as well to the Norbert thing.
Yes.
Which was an important part of the book, and much more drawn out and thingy. And in the movie, a lot of it's just sort of hand waved, and that went a long way to establishing the relationship between Hagrid and Harry, and it was a very fun part of the book. And when I watched it, like, you're not going to get 100% the book on screen. Fine. When I watched it, that was the bit I was disappointed was missing, because I really, really like that scene, that part of the book.
Yeah, I think we could have. It would have been nice to get an early glimpse of Charlie Weasley, and what he does, and why he does it. That I think that would have set that up, and then leading into how they get detention. And going into the Forbidden Forest now, I know, in the movies they have it as, it's Hermione, Ron, Harry, and Malfoy. And in the book, it's Harry, Hermione, Neville, and Malfoy. And I forget why Ron wasn't a part of that. I don't remember. But it, it's like, and that leading up to that, and then the whole scene with Ferenz, and everything that Ferenz said to Harry, and that whole, I mean, the movies kind of said a little bit, and but it really, in the movies too, when Harry's riding on the back of Ferenz, I don't actually, is he right? Yeah, he catches him right in the movie. See, now I don't remember, and I just watched this too. But it's like the importance of why the centaurs kind of get angry at the fact that Harry is riding on his back, and it kind of also sets the stage for that those characters in the later movies too.
And that's a big, not a huge conflict in later books and movies, but it's something that's there.
Yeah.
It's something that's important, and
yeah. Right, so some of the smaller things. Let's do a couple of the smaller things that bothered me too. There's also Oliver Wood's speeches in the books. Like, absolutely, I love this guy. He cracks me up, and his speeches. He does a little bit of a speech in the movies, I think, but it's like, I don't know, something about we're gonna train. I don't know. I forget what the heck he says, but it's nothing like the books. And he, yeah, that's for me. And then another thing was, and this is really kind of these two things. Well, the latter one might not be as trivial. This one kind of is, but it really bothered me how in the movies you had like the glass disappearing, and then you had Dudley falling in. When they went to the zoo, and in the books it's he's got a friend there, and him and Pierce, they jump back instead of they fall in. I think they kind of made it a little bit more dramatic in the movies, but. The other thing is Quirrell. How Quirrell, he gets so pale and thin, like throughout the book, and it's just the fact that it's showing you how Voldemort is just weighing down on him, and it's sucking the life out of him. I think they kind of touched on that too. So that was everything on my end.
Because of course in the book, when you meet Quirrell, Voldemort is not with him yet. He's not attached. He's not wearing the turban. He's just thinking he can shake Harry's hand and everything's fine. And Voldemort does that as a result of his failure to steal the Philosopher's Stone. And yeah, I've never actually thought about what you've just said there. The physical decay of Quirrell, because Voldemort's just this leeching thing on him. And yeah, it's not part of the movie at all. And that's a real shame. Yeah. Because it's an excellent way to show what happens when you
have a leech attached to you. Hey, Rachel, D&G Explorers, PTV, Rob, Mars and the Mouse. Man, girl, your name is a mouthful, but we love you. Welcome in. I love Rachel. I just want to say I love how you support everyone's channels. You are wonderful. I want to make that note. So I want to move on quickly. I want to just talk about similarities. There's not many on my list because, let's be honest, there's not too many in the books that are worth anything. I mean, in the movies. I keep getting that mixed up. But Dougie, do you have any similarities that you really like that the movies did touch on? Anything that wasn't really discussed?
For me, it's just that couple of, and I've touched on some of them. There's the couple of castings I think they got perfect. There's because I really don't like films 1 and 2. I don't think they feel right. There's just something weirdly production line about them. But Richard Harris as Dumbledore was just amazing casting. And every time he's on screen, you feel like Dumbledore's there. He feels like the legitimate character come to life. He does a spectacular job. I also, controversially, apparently, really like Michael Gambon's Dumbledore. They're very different, but I think they capture different sides of the character really, really well. But especially in that first film, Richard Harris's Dumbledore's perfect, and almost any scene where he's in feels like it's true to the book, or at least the spirit of the book. And he was like he and Alan Rickman definitely the best two parts of that movie. My personal favorite bit of the movie was always, of the book, was always the troll in the girls' bathroom. And that carried across very well. Some really dodgy CGI, even for 2001, it wasn't great. But that scene worked really well. And the reason it's important in the book is this is the point where the three of them become friends, because Hermione's been very much sort of excluded up until then. But I think the book says something like, you can't take down a 8-foot troll without becoming friends. And that, and it works in the film as well. It's one of the parts of the film that I think really, really worked. But no, I don't think the film's really found a stride until 3. So there aren't that many. Like I would just sit and complain about 1 and 2 for hours. I don't like the look of Hogwarts. I don't like the way that the films are shot. I don't like the way they look. That isn't it for me. Well, sorry, I'm speaking nonsense. Diagon Alley is amazing. Like, and I think that's the reason that the theme park works, because they created this amazing looking area.
Yeah,
that's absolutely amazing looking area that you can now go and be in. But Diagon Alley, when I saw that come up for the first time on screen, I was like, that's perfect. That's what I want. That did feel like stepping into a different world, in a magical world. So yeah, I think those are my only ones that I would say really, for this one, really got it right for me.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. The ones for me, the similarities, and these are just little minuscule type things. Oh, first I want to welcome Ed and or Mindy from Vibrary Project. Thanks for watching, guys. Good to see you. The Leviosa part, Leviosa, not like, however she says that. I could never ever say it like her, but that really gets me. And then that whole thing leading up to how she goes and hides her, Ron insults her and she overhears, and the troll in the bathroom, and yeah, that's that whole conglomerate of scenes right there is definitely, I thought they did a pretty good job on that. And of course my vertigo has to set in right now. Okay. Let me try to read this without falling over. The beginning of the book, Fred and George, where they pretend that Mrs. Weasley gets them mixed up, and they totally don't, and they trick her. I love that. I love that they kept that in. And then the whole scene with the Remember All, and how that also, Malfoy really doesn't, I don't think he realized how essential he was to getting Harry up on his feet with all of these things that, gets him started in Quidditch. He, helps them find the door to the Sorcerer's Stone, and that, I absolutely love that. And then the cloak with the Mirror of Erised, I like that they did that. They did that pretty good, for the books. I mean, from movie to book. And then the Quidditch game with Harry getting bucked off his broom. I thought that was pretty decent too. So those are my top 5. Those are my things that I think they did good on.
I meant to revisit the film before we came on and spoke, and because I reread the book, but I really struggled to watch the film. But as you say these things, yeah, there are definite scenes. Quidditch is very good. and the other ones that you said, the Remember All scene is something that I really, really liked, and it was pretty much just perfectly from the book put onto the film.
Yeah.
I do kind of wish though that they had done the earlier introduction of Draco Malfoy, like in the book.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the other thing that really bothered me is, Harry's first encounter with Malfoy was in Madame, whatever the heck her name was, at the dress shop when they were
Madame Malkin's robes for all occasions.
Yes, that's right. And that was really their first encounter, and that for me in the book was essential for setting up Malfoy's character, because you learn just how much of a, I don't know, what do you want to call him, whatever. He's just, I don't know, racist, bigot, I don't know, whatever in the world the heck you want to call him. Big words, small words for, a ridiculous character. And he just, that was in the book. I love that scene because you get a little taste of Malfoy, and this is great. We have a wonderful person on our hands there. So, yeah, that was big. So, Dougie, do you have anything else you want to say before I'm going to open the floor up to anyone that wants to come in? If anyone wants to give some of their opinions, I'm going to post the link in the chat, hopefully. There's a link to come in. If you want to come in, please feel free. Come give your opinion. We got just a little bit left here. And then next week, we're going to go into some of our favorite quotes from either the books or the movies, and then how you would have made the movies differently. Like, you can feel free, Dougie, to have like a drawing of how you think Hogwarts should have looked. If you like.
I will have a whole presentation on exactly what the movie should have been.
Great. I look forward to it. And then we'll also have some trivia questions, and we will have prizes, or a prize for the person who gets the trivia. And I threw in the trivia, I have to say, because Amy from AJC Magic TV, I love her trivia, and it's kind of really what inspired me. I thought, let's do some Harry Potter trivia. It'll be from either books or movies. We'll throw in just some of the things that we talked about too. So we'll do some fun things. So like I said, if anyone wants to pop in, I posted the link. Make sure you wear your earbuds so that you don't have an echo, because that wouldn't sound nice. Karen D has a question. How do you feel Universal did with the Wizarding World? Dougie, you want to take this? I've never been there, so.
Oh, okay. See, now I have this reputation for being very negative about things, and I'm afraid I have to be slightly negative. It is two beautiful areas. They are absolutely stunning just to stand and be in. And you legitimately feel like you're in... you could be in London when you're in Diagon Alley. Hogsmeade and Hogwarts, very important to me, is of course in the north of Scotland. And the only thing that stops you feeling like you're in the north of Scotland is that Florida weather it's just not Scottish weather. We're always cold and sad, and it's always grey. But when you get your thunderstorms, then okay, I feel like I could be in Scotland. My problem with the area with them is that the attractions are very limited. I've not done Hagrid's very long ride name, which is meant to be very, very good, but certainly there's it feels like there's not that much to do in those particular areas, and it's a lot of shops. Like every building has a shop, and I know that's normal for theme parks, but if you go to Tomorrowland in Disney, you've got several rides to go on, I think, and a whole bunch of shops. Whereas there's like one ride, well, now two rides in Hogsmeade, but one ride at Diagon Alley in this huge area, and it feels like a bit of a wasted opportunity and a little bit of a waste of space. That they didn't do more with that. I will say that the train journey that takes you from Diagon Alley to Hogsmeade is a lot of fun. It's very quick, but it's a lot of fun, and it's one of the few places in America that I've ever seen Iron Brew for sale. I was very, very pleased when I saw that, except I couldn't buy any because it was like $10, and I'm not paying $10 for an Iron Brew, and that's it.
Yeah, I hear you there. That's interesting. So, I have a question. Have you ever made homemade butterbeer?
No, I haven't. I don't really like the butterbeer they sell in the parks. It's too sort of sickly sweet for me. They do have a hot version that they sell at only certain times a year, which is very, very nice. And I always imagine the butterbeer, at least that they get served in the places like the Hog's Head, and by Madame Murta, etc., as being hot. I think it's described as hot. And the hot stuff is amazing. But no, there's sort of knockoff butterbeer brands that get sold in the shops around here, so I just drink away on them, and they're quite nice. They're not bad at all. But no, but the butterbeer at the parks is not good, and but if you're a big fan of your frozen like, crazy sweet drinks, you're onto a winner. But not me.
Yeah, I found a couple of recipes online that I've tried. One that includes like butterscotch syrup and vanilla ice cream and whipped cream, and I've tried a couple of them, and I like to. They're cold, they're frozen drinks, and it's a little different, but And then last summer, I think I was probably obsessed. I would make one almost every day, just because it was, that's usually the time where I start reading the books again. Is like this time into the summer because. I don't know. I love the book feel of when they talk about summertime in the books. Like, and it's just for me. It's a good time. Amy, AGC Magic TV. I'm not sure if I welcomed you in, but if I did not, welcome in. Yeah. So I've tried a few different recipes. I don't really have a favorite that I've tried, and I couldn't tell you what they were now because I probably threw them away like an idiot. Probably should have saved them, but yeah, I think I might try, a hot one. Try to get it because
the hot one was lovely. It's the only one I've ever got. That's genuinely really nice. And I would drink that any day.
Yeah, I got my family and I, as you know, we're from Boston, and Salem, Massachusetts is just about a half hour away, if that. And we go up every year, multiple times if we're able to. And there's a store there called Remember Salem, but it's really a Harry Potter store. It's got a lot of Harry Potter stuff in it. And there's a book that I took home from there. Obviously, I bought it. I did not steal it. And it's just all the recipes, from the Harry Potter books. And I think I haven't really tried any of them yet. And I don't remember if there's a butterbeer recipe in there. I'm sure there is, because you can't make a Harry Potter recipe book and not put butterbeer in there. I actually think I'm going to go and revisit that and take a peek. But I just love this book because it's got like the pasties. It's got like all the foods that were on the table that they mention in the books. And I don't know if they're made up recipes, just what, the book writer thought that they should, the ingredients should be and whatnot, or if there's actually like official recipes or whatnot. But it is called the unofficial Harry Potter cookbook. So, yeah.
It's just there's Harry Potter shops just popping up everywhere here, and it's very unusual for here for to get latched onto. Back when I did Edinburgh for the Visit Scotland thing, I think there was 5 clustered together, and now there's more. And there's ones in Glasgow. There's one up in Mallaig, which is the where the train takes you over the viaduct that you see in the second film. The train goes over the thing and through the tunnel. So that's, you can take that train. I think there's a video still up on my channel. I did take a whole bunch of videos down. And you go in the actual train that was used in the film, and they take you the route that they went in the film. And there's little Harry Potter shops dotted all over the place there. It's just this crazy industry in Scotland, and people must be making insane amounts of money, just insane amounts of money, exploiting this Potter thing.
I'm posting the link. I hope this is the right link where you ride the Hogwarts train. So check out Ducky's links that are being posted. There's a couple of shops in Boston. There's one especially on a street called Newbury Street, which is really the hub. It's like all old buildings that were made in like, I don't know, 1800s, and they've turned them, they're supposed to be like houses, and they turn them into like shops, and it really gives kind of a feel of Diagon Alley. And there's a Harry Potter store in one of them, but we walked in and it's old and rickety too, so it's like the floor is unsteady too, and it really gives the feel. But it was so expensive. Everything in that store was twice the price probably of what I could have got on the WB site, the Warner Brothers store, or even in the Wizarding World. I it just was like, it was sticker shock for me, and I was like, yeah, we're not going to buy anything today. But they had some really nice things, don't get me wrong, but when you go shop on Newbury Street, you pay twice as much as what you would pay in just a regular place. It's very upscale and whatnot, but yeah. Yeah. All right, well, I think it's going to be time to end the show. Again, I want to thank Dougie for agreeing to do this and just being here, and I'm enjoying this discussion a lot. I love talking Harry Potter, and Megan Helmer, she lives near me. She's my friend's daughter, and she's also my friend. Her and I can get into quite the discussion about Harry Potter, and so I really enjoy talking Harry Potter. Dougie, I've enjoyed talking Harry Potter with you. I love that. I don't know. I love that you are so knowledgeable in the books, and you have so many opinions, and that, yeah.
I always have a lot of opinions about everything.
That's good. That's good. You can have a conversation without opinions, right? They're essential.
I could keep some of them to myself, I suppose.
That's understandable too.
But no, thank you for having me on. I always like talking about Potter. I feel like I talk too much at certain points, but
no, definitely not. If I could, I could have just gave you the whole show. You could have I'd just sit here and listen, and it would have been a great show. Yeah, but yeah. So, do you have anything coming up, Dougie, that you want to talk about? Any?
No, I'm really trying to get back into doing YouTube and filming videos. I'm not a streamer. I don't like live streaming my own channel. I'm happy to join other people. It's a different thing. I'm trying to get back in and I'm trying to get this room sorted out, because this room's totally changed since I last posted about the Disney room. Lots of little things that I'm hoping to start doing. Of course, the big thing was meant to be Disney trips this year and vlogging that, but who knows what's coming with that. And then every Saturday I'm on your That UK Disney Couple for the discussions stream, which is going reasonably well. And thank God everyone else is there, because I couldn't carry that thing. I'm just there to cause chaos.
And you do it well, I might add. Yeah, in case you guys don't know, let me try to post a link for the UK Disney Couple. They have a really great show too. I enjoy watching it. It's like, for me, it's like Battle of the Accents, and I absolutely love it. Yeah, any accent I thrive off of. I love it. Of course, it's not popping up. All right, if any mods are still in the chat, post a link for the UK Disney couple. Like Dougie said, they go live Saturdays, 8 o'clock.
UK, which
Yep.
would that be 3 your time? Is that right?
Yes, it's 3 o'clock my time, which is I have put off my grocery shopping at that time so I could actually watch the show. So I will be shopping after this show to make up for it. So it's a really, really great show. Paul and Cheryl and Nathan and Dougie and Sean from See Sean Vlog and Nathan Steger, they do such an amazing show. I hope I didn't leave anybody out. I don't think I did, but
No, that's
okay. Yeah, it's a really great show. So, all right, I'm going to end this. We'll see you guys next week. Same time, same channel. Be prepared for trivia. And we're going to discuss our favorite quotes from either the books or the movies and how we would have made the movies different. So, thanks for joining. See you guys later. Bye.